do the thing.
Record.
Thank you, Kevin. Chapter 3, Natural Vision. Observation is an extension of the embrace that in turn makes the embrace observable. The embrace is not an action so much as a state of being. Awareness of the embrace comes from the vision of which I have just begun to speak. Observation and vision are closely linked, but not the same. Observation has to do with the elevation of the personal self. Vision has to do with what cannot be elevated. Vision has to do with the divine pattern, the unity that binds all living things. Observation is the means of seeing this binding pattern in physical form. The personal self is still in need of being elevated. Elevated to its original nature, by its original nature or intent. The devotion of the observant will return you to your original purpose. The vision of Christ consciousness will take you beyond it.
Thanks, Chantal. Sam, we're up to the fourth treatise, chapter 3, whatever it was called. What's it called again?
Natural vision.
Natural vision.
Page.
Anyone know the page?
What chapter is that?
Chapter 3, Natural Vision in the fourth treatise.
In the book, it's 377.
And we're up to 3.4. Okay, I'm next. I'll read. Original intent has everything to do with the nature of things, for original intent is synonymous with cause. The original intent of this chosen experience was the expression of the self of love in observable form. This original intent or cause formed the true nature of the personal self, capable of being observed in relationship. The displacement of the original intent, while it did not change the original cause, formed a false nature for the personal self. This displacement of the original intent can be simply stated as the displacement of love with fear. It is as simple as that. Yet the way in which each of you have interpreted this displacement has come to seem quite complex. You may not feel that you have ever intended to live in fear, but the displacement of the original intent was so complete that each life has begun with fear and proceeded from this beginning, continually reacting to fear. While the original intent remained within you and caused your every effort and caused the very effort that has continued the cycle of fear.
You missed it. You missed a bit there, Kevin. Sorry.
Yes,
Something
sound funny. Self-love. I missed that bit, did I?
Yeah, just go back to the beginning of the sentence, I think.
While the original intent remained within you and caused you to attempt to express a self-love, a self of love despite your fear. Fear has thwarted your every effort and caused the very effect that has continued the cycle of fear. Yeah, I skipped the line. To have to try to be who you are and to express who you are is the result of the displacement of the nature of love with the nature of fear.
Mm-hmm.
What we now are about is reversing this displacement and returning you to your true nature.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's enough for me. Who's next? Ruben, would you like to read?
Yes. For every being, there is a natural state of being that is joyful, effortless, and full of love.
Mm-hmm.
For every being existing in time, there is also in a natural state of being. Both states of being, the natural and the unnatural, exist in relationship. While relationship is what has kept you forever unable to be separate and alone, relationship is also what has kept you seemingly forever unable to return to your natural state of being. The fear that was birthed along with the erroneously inherited idea that it was your nature to be separate and alone, and thus fearful, made relationships fearful as well. Trust became something to be earned. Even the most loving parent, like unto your most loving image of God, having brought a child into a fearful world, became subject to the test of time. Thus did the world become a world of effort, with all things in it and beyond it, including God, weighed and balanced against the idea of fear. Now, as we reverse this set of circumstances and replace the world of fear with the world of love, there can be no more weighing of love against fear. God did not create fear and will not be judged by it. I repeat. God did not create fear and will not be judged by it. All judgment is the cause of fear, and this effort to wage love strength against fear's veracity. While you choose to believe and live in a world that nature of which was fear, you could not know God. You could not know God because you judge God from within the nature of fear, believing it to be your natural state. One more. As the natural state of love is returned to you, judgment falls away because vision will arise. With the onset of the vision of love, many of you will make one final judgment in which you find everything to be good and full of love. Once all has been judged with the vision of love, judgment is over naturally, for it has served its purpose. This is the final judgment. I'm complete. Thank you.
Thanks, Reuben. Annie and Ian, we're up to chapter 3, Natural Vision, and we're up to 3.9, is it?
Mhm.
Alison, you're next.
Okay. The vision that will arise in you now is not new. It is your natural vision, the vision of love. What is new is the elevation of the personal self that will be caused by the return of your natural state of love. This is where observation comes in. Vision will allow you to see the nature of the world and all that exists within it truly. Observation will allow you to elevate the personal self to its rightful place within the nature of a world of love. Vision is the natural means of knowing of all who were created in love. Observation is the natural means of sharing what is known in physical form. The physical form is not the natural or original form of the created.
Interesting, eh?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll get my head around this one. Vision is the means by which the original nature of the created can once again be known.
Yes.
Is he talking about, Cole, is he talking about how we were created and then we decided to have an experience where we could observe relationship?
Yeah, we slowed ourselves down until we became physical.
Right. Yeah.
We're let's reduce it to a higher vibration. We were amorphous, like we were like still kind of a form, but not this solid form. And then holding on to something created no movement, and that no movement created kind of a form, physicality.
Okay.
There's that I'm not, and even this is like, it's very loose. It's not like,
yeah, and I have to be really careful not to get caught up in my head about it, because it is, we're joining head and mind and heart together for this
what does the elevated self of form does, it reverberates you back into this like a higher frequency of yourself.
Yeah.
Which you recognize, you will be seeing yourself differently. and you will not look through these eyes. It will be this inner knowing that sees. Observation is not something we're observing with our eyes. It's like the inner seeing of the kingdom, which is
I feel like that's what that prayer for me is, that here I am, Lord prayer is for me. It's just coming into presence.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Show me.
Anyway.
Show me, basically. It got to be revealed to you, like you can't figure this out.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll start this again. The physical form is not the natural or original form of the created.
Mm-hmm.
Vision is the means by which the original nature of the created can once again be known.
Yeah.
Observation is the means by which the original nature of the created can newly be seen in physical form.
Right.
Mm.
Once the original nature of the created becomes observable in physical form will surpass what it once was and become the new nature of the created.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also, in a previous chapter, he really went into this, the difference between vision and observation, which was a really amazing distinction.
Yeah, I really wanted one more day to look at that because but this morning I didn't get a chance to. So,
yeah, no, that's really worth looking into, because it really defines it as the vision is just the kingdom. It's the clear seeing of what truly is.
Yeah.
Whereas observation is more like being able to see, even in a physical form, the more subtle, subtle realm.
There is no reason why the original nature of your being cannot become a being the nature of which is form, if you so choose it to be.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason why the original nature of your being cannot exist in a form unnatural to love. A form whose nature is fear cannot house the creation of love. Mm. He's just talking about someone who thinks they're a body. Is that in that last sentence, Cole? Is that what he's saying?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll stop asking you questions. Next, thank you.
Kim, you're next.
Man has striven since the beginning of time to be done with the separated state of a being of form, and at the same time to hang on to life.
Yeah.
Not realizing that what exists in form does not have to be separate and alone. Not realizing that what lives does not have to die.
Mm-hmm.
That the nature of form can change. That the nature of matter is one of change. That the nature, even of form, once returned to its natural state of love, is one of unity and everlasting life. Yay! The idea of everlasting life in form has seemed a curse to some, a miracle to others. Death comes as destruction to some, as new life to others. Either way is but your choice. Your attachment to life has kept you alive in form. Your attachment to death has kept your form subject to the cycle of decay and rebirth. There is another alternative.
There's hope.
The promise of life everlasting was not an empty promise. It is a promise that has been fulfilled. It is you who have chosen the means. Now a new choice is before you. Oh,
Gosh, they're really loaded, aren't they? These,
Ah,
every one of them is like, wow.
yeah.
oh. I just feel this fear thing is the biggest hurdle, isn't it? Like saying to me, "Well, you've got any type of fear, it's going to get in the way." So, oh, yeah, this idea of everlasting life in form, it's a conundrum, isn't it? Because I guess it doesn't mean this particular form, maybe. I don't know.
I think it doesn't pay to overthink it.
Mm.
It's funny, when I asked you that question before, Cole, he answered it in the next paragraph, as he always does, or nearly always
I
does.
know. I love that.
Yeah. It's interesting though. I find this quite relevant to what I'm going through at the moment because I'm staying back with my mum. I've just come home once a day for a little bit of time, but a lot of the time she just looks like she's not here for long, but she has this idea in her mind that she's an astrologer. She said that she's got a new beginning coming up. And she has this idea in her mind that it actually might be in form, even though it's looking pretty grim at times. But she keeps on seeing little signs and what I would call omens almost that she's going to be here for a bit longer. So I mean, I don't know where I'm at with it, but it's interesting. Like I'm not wanting to put
Your own
a
limitation.
fixed idea of death in place because maybe that's not what's going to happen. I don't actually know.
Mm.
But I feel at the moment like I'm okay. I'm more okay with this. Okay, I have to admit this. I'm more okay with her dying than I am with her staying here if I have to keep on looking after her.
Mm.
Because I'm tired. I'm so tired. Anyway, I just have to keep watching, watching that stuff, and I'll just keep loving her.
And yourself for being in that position,
Yeah, I suppose I give myself a hard time for putting myself here. And I've worked so hard to look after her, but I'm so tired, and I feel like sometimes it's too hard on me. And
For sure.
But then I give myself a hard time about that too, which doesn't help anything.
And then when she's gone, it'll be hard. So,
Yeah, it'll be different. It'll
yeah.
be different. And she is a wonderful companion for me in some ways. So it will be really different. But I think it will be really freeing too if she does sort of depart soon.
Yeah, it comes a time when it's time, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit like it's that, but she's not letting go. And she, her idea is I'm not afraid of death, but I see it in her anyway.
Yeah, judgment release goes a long way with these things.
Yes, it does. And the last chapter was so helpful for me because I thought, I've given up a lot of judgment, but oh man, so much came out last week, and it wasn't just about her. It was like about everything that was in my face. And so I just sat down one day and I applied it. I just applied what he was saying to the worst one, to the hardest ones. I applied it, and it was so freeing and helpful. But it's a habit. It's just it's habitual thought, isn't it?
Yeah. And also we live in this reality where, all we know is that someone at some point dies,
Yeah.
And so what we call this life.
Yeah.
We're calling this life, but this is such a reduction, we live in a very slow vibration.
Yeah.
So your desires take forever to be fulfilled, whereas when you're free, you think of something and it just happens to occur already.
I mean, this happens to me quite a lot, but I come in and out of it.
Yeah.
Like I have, almost instant manifesting.
Yeah. It's like a miracle mindedness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember Jesus talking in the Bible. He said about John, I think it was John, that he won't die. He won't leave the body. That he'd still be here for a long time. And I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just saying there's previous reference to this idea too from Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you can even just look at it the way the Bible has been misinterpreted for so long.
Yes.
This is like,
It's so funny though, isn't it? Because I have, like, for years I sat with the Bible. I sat with, just like I do with the Course of Love. I just sat with it and felt into it, and I got my own interpretation of it. It came really clear. It was a revelatory experience, even with all the translations that have come through. It does show itself.
Yeah. You got to have your own revelation. Like, it's just when the mind is ready, suddenly you release some massive chunk of your old something, and then suddenly the fresh wine comes your way, and then, like, you just see everything differently. Like,
this damn belief in death is so entrenched. Like,
yes,
like, just, damn it.
We have to see where it's entrenched. Like, it's entrenched in me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing more and more that this is not about like teaching something to other people, or offering them a course of love, or it's about, I find it in myself, and there's a couple of people who've turned up in my life who they want the course of love, but I haven't had to go looking.
Yeah. So at the end, it's just all about you.
Yeah. And I see my daughter, and she's not interested in this at all, but she gets it. She still gets it. It's like what he said a couple of weeks ago with what we were reading, that there's these new ones coming through, born into the time of Christ. This is their place and time, and they embrace the new as soon as they know about it.
Beautiful. Shall we move on to the chapter 4? I think we can still manage one more, unless everyone's too overwhelmed by what we just read.
Yeah, I think we can manage that.
Yeah.
No, there's this weird sense of joy. Like, I don't know where it comes from, but it doesn't make sense that it's there. Yeah.
Yes. And like, it will begin to more and more, it will begin to just take you. The joy takes you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. This is the hardest for me. This is like been the hardest thing. Like, I need do nothing. And how do you not do something? How do you don't help in some way where it takes you? and just learn that when it takes you, not to be afraid that you're gonna be taken to the right place.
Yeah.
It's I just realized it's kind of like the difference between looking for something and just sitting and seeing what's and receiving. It's kind of like that difference.
Yes.
Which is what observation would be. I'll shut up now. You guys can carry on.
The joy of letting go of our ideas, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, it cannot be told. I think that's the hardest thing. It's like, if you can't tell it, if you can't translate it in any way, you're off. You're making up something now. You make a new religion. It is this indescribable sense of right? Like, you say it's, you're hanging on a cross, Now it's this.
Oh.
I guess the best interpretation would be in that thing of like, it's brand new right now, but it's already brand new right now. And now it's brand new. And now it's brand new.
Oh, it's the only place to be.
Yes.
Truly. You don't even have to go and buy anything new.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's go. Chapter 4. Who is next, Kevin? Save us.
You're next, Cole.
Am I next? The inheritance of everlasting life. I'm complete.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Kim, do you feel this sense of elevation?
Yes.
Yes, that's it. It's just like you get more and more elevated, you more and more become less dense and more elevated. Everywhere within your world, you see the pattern of life everlasting. Where there is a pattern of life everlasting, there is everlasting life. Means and end are one. Cause and effect the same. The pattern of life everlasting is one of changing form. It is one that is revealed on earth by birth and death, decay and renewal, seasons of growth and seasons of decline. This is the pattern of creation taken to extremes. It's called density. Just kidding. Inherent within the extreme is the balance.
Oh.
Even in the biblical description of creation was a day of rest spoken of. Creation balance with rest is the pattern that has been taken to extremes within your world. You think of birth as creation and death as rest. You do not realize that your nature and the nature of your life, like that of all around you, is governed by seasons natural to the state of love, seasons of regeneration. In your history, generations pass through death, to allow for new generation to be born. As your planet has reached a state of growth, known as overpopulation, okay, this balance between old generations and new seems necessary and even critical. One generation must pass to make room for the new. Even before the planet reached a state of overpopulation, this idea was much in evidence. The passing of a parent was seen, particularly historically, as the time of a child of the parent coming into his or her inheritance or time of fullness. The power and prestige, the earthly wealth of the parent passed historically to the son. All right, who's next, Kev?
Samuel, you're reading today?
I can read what paragraph?
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons that I came in the form of the Son of God. In the time in which I lived, the idea of inheritance was an even stronger idea, an idea with much more power than in current times. Inherent within the idea of inheritance was an idea of passing as well as an idea of continuity. What belonged to the Father passed to the Son, and thereafter belonged to the Son. What was of the Father continued with the Son. What my life demonstrated was a capacity for inheritance, not based upon death. My life, death, and resurrection reveal the power of inheritance, the power of the Father as one of giving, life-giving union. I called you then, and I call you now to this inheritance. This idea of inheritance is a natural idea arising from the nature of creation itself. It is an idea of continuity that is an idea consistent with that of creation. There is no discontinuity within creation. Like begets like. Life begets life. Thus is revealed the pattern of life everlasting. Changing form is part of the pattern of life everlasting. The change in the form you now occupy, the change I have spoken of as that of elevation of the personal self, is a natural part of the pattern of life everlasting. It is long overdue. It is long overdue. It is long overdue because you have rejected rather than accept your inheritance. Stop there.
I accept.
Oh, go on, Elsa.
I accept.
Me too.
What if you go home and your mother says, you can start calling me John from now on? You accept that?
I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
If she starts talking in a deeper voice, I might take her seriously.
Annie, you're next if you're there.
Yes. 4.9. This is why this treatise is called a treatise on the new. There has not been a time on earth in which the inheritance of God the Father was accepted, save by me. This is why this time is spoken of as the time of fullness. It is the time during which you have within your awareness the ability to come into your time of fullness by accepting the inheritance of your Father. You have the awareness and thus the ability to accept the continuity of life everlasting. Lest this sound like the ranting of your science fiction and cause you to turn deaf ears to the knowledge, I would impart, let me assure you that immortality is not the change of which I speak. You are not mortal. And so, a word that speaks of an opposite to that, to what you are not and have never been, is not the accurate word. I do not speak of bodies living forever instead of living for what you call a lifetime, be it a lifetime of 20 or 50 or 90 years. Life has continuously been prolonged without a substantial change in the nature of life. To think of living on and on as you have lived your life thus far would not appeal to many of you. Thank you, Kim. Those aged and contemplating death might wish for prolonged life, but many of these same welcome death as the end to suffering and strife. To continue on endlessly with life as it has been would only relegate more and more to lives not worth living. What is it then of which I speak? If you still must look ahead and see death looming on the horizon, how can it be that I speak of life everlasting? Am I but using new words to repeat what you have heard in various forms from various religions and systems of belief for countless ages? Am I but calling you to a happy death and an afterlife in heaven? I am calling you to the new. I am calling you to transform. I am calling you to Christ consciousness. I am calling you to everlasting consciousness, even while you still abide in form. To be cognizant or aware of everlasting consciousness while you still abide in form is to be fully aware that you have life everlasting. One, being fully aware that you have life everlasting is totally different than having faith in an afterlife. I'm going to repeat that one. Being fully aware that you have life everlasting is totally different than having faith in an afterlife. Faith is based upon the unknown. If the unknown were not unknown, faith would not be necessary. Faith will become unnecessary as life everlasting becomes known to you. One more time on that one too. Faith will become unnecessary as life everlasting becomes known to you. Incomplete. Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Ruben, it's back to you.
Is 4:14?
Yeah.
This knowing will come from the return of true vision. True vision sees life everlasting, where perception but thou finite life and mortal bodies. Once vision in Christ consciousness has returned to you, the means of life everlasting will be understood as a choice, because there was no relationship save that of intermediaries between the human and the divine. There was no choice but to end the separate state in order to return to unity through death. Once the return to unity has occurred in form, the decision to continue in form or to not continue in form will be yours. Continuity as is an attribute of relationship, not of matter. It is only in that relationship of matter to the divine that matter can become divine and thus eternal. If you can abide in unity while in human form, you will have no cause, save your own choice, to leave human form. To abide in unity is to abide in your natural state, a state of life everlasting. To abide in a state of separation is to abide in a natural state from which you eventually will seek release. And one more. Although this discussion is likely to cause many of you serious doubt about the truth and applicability of this course, this discussion is necessary to your awareness of Christ consciousness. To believe that you are mortal is to believe that you must die to the personal self of form in order to be reborn as a true self.
Bingo.
Can you read that again, please?
Yes, to believe that you are mortal is to believe that you must die to the personal self of form in order to be reborn as a true self. This is an old way of thinking, but we now work throughout this course to return your true identity to you now. The joining of heart and mind now in relationship is the joining of the personal self with the true self in the reality in which you exist now. Remember, the heart must abide in the reality where you think you are. Only through your mind's acceptance of your new reality has the heart been freed to exist in the new reality that is the state of unity in relationship. I'm complete.
Wow. Let's pause there for a moment. Oh my God. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm. Kathy, you want to go on?
Yeah, my page is sort of frozen, so Alison, you're next.
Can you not see the necessity of removing the idea that your true self will be returned to you only through death?
Mm. Yes.
What purpose would this course serve if it were just another preview of what to expect after you die? What difference would this make to your way of living or the world in which you live? What purpose will death serve when your true self has joined with your physical form?
Ooh.
You will see it simply as the transformation it has always been. The transformation from singular consciousness to Christ consciousness. Form, excuse me, form has been but a representation of singular consciousness. As form becomes a representation of Christ consciousness, it will take on the nature of Christ consciousness, of which my life was the example life. To sustain Christ consciousness in form is creation of the new.
Mm.
To sustain Christ consciousness in form is creation of the new. My one example life could not sustain Christ consciousness for those who came after me, but could only be an example. What you are called to do is, through your multitude, sustain Christ consciousness, and thus create the union of the human and the divine, and thus create the union of the human and the divine as a new state of being. This union will take you beyond the goal of expressing yourself in form, because this goal but reflected the desire for a temporary experience. The temporary experience has been elongated because of the appeal of the physical experience. What this treatise is saying to you is that if the physical experience appeals to you, and if you create the union of the human and the divine as a new state of being, this choice will be eternally yours. It will be a choice of your creation, a creation devoid of fear. It will be a new choice.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Before we start to record today, I was sharing with Kevin and this lady. Well, I was sharing that I was in La La Land. I was feeling in La La Land. And it's because in these past 2 weeks, I lost 2 good friends. One 88 and the other one 86. And they were very positive all the time, even the last week. And they just decide to check out. Even the last one, before she went to hospice, she was able to send us a message telling us, giving thanks for everything. And 3 days later, she was gone. And the funeral was full of love, no tears. Because they, in some way, I feel like they did a transition before they were living from the Spirit. And it was so beautiful to see all these people passing through and giving the respect to those bodies. Here in Tennessee, in town, we have a ritual. When somebody dies, everybody stop. When they were taking the body to the cemetery, town stops, the traffic stop. Some of them bow. It was so beautiful. I mean, that experience put me in La La Land, one with the Spirit. And it was, well, I just wanted to share that we can do that transition before. We don't have to wait. I mean, Cole was telling us, just stay, everything is new now. Now is that transition. If I hold myself in the now, that's Christ consciousness, being aware all the time. So the Father is pouring himself. Love is pouring in the now. I just wanted to share that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. Seems to be the theme of the week.
Yeah, I heard someone state, some YouTube thing, emphatically, oh, the only way to heaven is you have to die. I thought, oh, well, it's the old thinking, you know, like, yeah, nonsense, bullshit, yeah. And yeah, like you saying, Ruben, yeah, they got to heaven beforehand, yeah. But like, yeah, I want to do it way beforehand, not at the last second. You know what I mean? What's the use of that? Well, there probably is, but yeah, like
the transformation
now, isn't it?
It is happening. I can feel it. Like it's doing me. It is happening. Look, I was driving along the road this morning. Didn't have a great morning. It wasn't terrible, but driving along the road, and there's a pedestrian there who I stopped for, and she gives me a big smile, but she was smiling back at me because I had a big smile on my face. And this is like, I've never been like this. I've always been this depressed person. It's so nice.
It's like just like that idea of the near-death experience, you know, like those are when you really listen to some of those accounts, those people had really something so tangible happen, you know. And we call that near-death experience. And but there is a new thing that's happening, I think now, is this new near life experience, because really when that life comes in, it's incomparable to what we appear to seem to know. it's a new reality, and yeah, it has to happen in the conscious awareness. Yeah, like, you know, it no longer need to be knocked out.
Yes.
And one thing that's often goes with this near-death experience, that they often say, I was there in heaven, and it's definitely so tangible when they talk about it. However, there's always this thing, then I was sent back.
Yes.
I reckon that's the trick, because very personally, when it happened, it was exactly 8 years ago. It was like, it was so unbearable. You know, we think it's gonna be like love. It gets so unbearable. It's such a profound experience of life that the density of our physical self can virtually slowly adjust to it. That's why Course in Miracles is so incredible, because it gives you this daily lesson when you allow yourself to feel little dislodgements of your structure, and the life comes through. If you're not conceptualizing, of course, and if you're not interpreting the lessons, but you're allowing them to take you where they're pointing to. So you have these moments of light experience and go like, okay, 3 minutes is over, thank you. That's plenty, right? But then you get used to, and I think that's what it is like you got to get also, like it reverberates your structure, it vibrates, it moves. That's why I call it near life experience, because it's so alive. You become so alive, but to sustain it in this kind of density, and particularly if you're surrounded by the world, you know, the way it's going at the moment, huh? It's very easy for you to go and become dense again. Yeah. So anyway, I had a near life experience reading this book. Yeah. And it was like that. Like 5 days later, I was almost on my knees begging for it to stop. It's like, give me a freaking break. This is unbearable. I really got that title, Unbearable Lightness of Being, kind of synced into my system, going like, that's what that means, you know? But it is, in a way, like these concepts show us new way of being, and so automatically the old system is dying off. Like, you got to die to the old. That's what really it means. You got to die to the whole belief system. I mean, can you ever sustain that awareness when no thoughts are creeping in? And even if they are, you just pay no attention to them whatsoever, because they're not it. And when that happens, the natural elevation kicks in. And it doesn't happen around the head. It does happen. For me, it happens very much in my belly, actually. Suddenly there is this like a little breeze coming through, and it's all very subtle. And I go, oh, and there's always this, oh, here it comes again. And it does come in that peaceful when we go quiet and we're just really listen. Like he talks about, I love that idea of sustained Christ consciousness, not just the holy instant that pops in and goes like, "Ooh, I'm high." No,
Yeah.
like sustain, like it
It's so
leaves
easy
you.
to
Yeah,
miss
it
those
leaves.
words sometimes. It's
Say
so
it again?
easy to skip past one word sometimes, but that really stood out to me today. Sustain.
Sustain Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I've had hundreds, probably thousands of experiences
Of holy
of,
instances. Yeah.
but you know, sustaining it is the thing. And there are so many people around the globe now doing it.
Oh yeah.
Or, you know, practicing.
Yeah, which is what we're doing, aren't we? And I think I prefer this way than the sudden, like huge sudden thing. I don't think I'd like that.
Yeah.
I like this gradual it takes you for a bit, and then, you get used to that and you can do it a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very good.
It's okay to fall back into the abyss, it's okay. It's just part of the process of practicing feeling really good and allowing it, and, yeah.
All right, darling. Shall we leave it at that before we say another meaningful sentence?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. What
Thank you,
fun.
thank you, thank you.
Good to see you, Sam.
Yeah, it's really nice to have you here,
Yeah.
as well as everyone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so good. Yeah.
Thank you, darlings. Shall be dancing soon.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I really love this time.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, darlings. Get you soon.
Thank you.
Night all.
Yeah.
Later.